Back in the days of Windows 7, there was a well-known joke among computer enthusiasts that if you weren't running Windows XP, you were running Windows. That might sound funny now, but at the time, Windows XP was so ubiquitous that it was simply impossible to escape its presence in the tech world. But come 2009 and the release of Windows 7, something new was on the horizon. And it wasn't just about having a completely different look. No, this was about a major redesign of the way people interacted with their computers. We had all been so used to seeing that familiar blue screen with the Start button at the bottom left for so long that any deviation from that standard was going to be hard to get used to. Yet Microsoft did it anyway with Windows 7, and it wasn't without its growing pains. Over the next few years, as we moved through Windows 8, Windows 10 and ultimately to where we are today with Windows 11, these changes only became more extreme. But looking back at them now makes us realize just how far Windows has really come. So let us take a journey through time and compare some of the greatest differences between Windows 7 and Windows 11. It's me. Welcome to my channel. Now, even though Windows 7 was by no means the first iteration of Windows, it was actually the first version to be built entirely around a new kernel called Windows Core. This meant that while it may have looked similar to previous versions of Windows, under the hood things were very different. In fact, this change made Windows 7 incompatible with older programs written for Windows XP or Vista. But don't worry, most people didn't have to deal with that because by the time Windows 7 rolled around, XP was already getting long in the tooth and most folks were ready to move on anyway. One of the biggest changes in Windows 7 was the introduction of the Aero interface, which included translucent windows, a new taskbar, and a revamped Start menu. The old Start menu had become cluttered with too many options and shortcuts. So Microsoft decided to simplify it by combining all the various control panels into one easy-to-navigate location. They also got rid of the classic control panel entirely and replaced it with a search box that allowed you to quickly find what you were looking for. Windows 7 brought some other big changes as well, such as improved support for multiple monitors, better touch and pen input, and a much-needed update to the Windows Update system. These changes made Windows 7 more stable and secure than ever before. It also made it faster thanks to some changes Microsoft made to the way the operating system handles memory. The net result was an operating system that was both visually appealing and easier to use than its predecessors. It wasn't perfect, of course, but compared to XP, Vista, and even Windows 10, Windows 7 had a lot going for it. In terms of pricing, Windows 7 was available as a retail upgrade from Windows Vista for $200 or as a standalone purchase for $300. Compared to Vista, which cost $300 at launch, that might seem like a huge price difference. However, considering inflation, the equivalent price in 2023 dollars would be around $260, which isn't exactly cheap. When Windows 8 was released in 2012, the consensus among critics and tech enthusiasts was generally positive. Many praised the introduction of the new Start screen with its live tiles, which provided a quick and easy way to access frequently used apps and settings. Some even went as far as to say that Windows 8 was the most significant update to Windows since the original Windows 95. Of course, not everyone was thrilled with the changes. Many people felt that the Start screen was an unnecessary addition and simply wanted to go back to the traditional desktop experience. But hey, you can always do that, right? All you had to do was hit the little back button in the lower left corner and voila, desktop. But for those who did enjoy the new features, Windows 8 was a welcome change of pace. Ultimately, whether you loved it or hated it, Windows 8 showed that Microsoft wasn't afraid to take risks and experiment with new ideas, which could only lead to greater innovation in the future. In terms of pricing, Windows 8 was a bit of a mixed bag. The initial release of Windows 8 cost $100 as an upgrade from Windows 7 or $120 for a clean install. However, in 2013, Microsoft released Windows 8.1, which included several changes designed to address some of the shortcomings of the original Windows 8. And guess what? Windows 8.1 was free for anyone already running Windows 8.nice. In 2015, Windows 10 was launched with a hefty price tag of $120 as an upgrade from Windows 7 or $190 from Windows 8. However, with the release of Windows 10 in 2015, Microsoft took a different approach. Instead of forcing users to choose between two distinct interfaces, they aimed to combine the best elements of both Windows 7 and Windows 8. This was most evident in the return of the Start menu, which provided users with a more familiar way to access their apps and settings. Additionally, Windows 10 was significantly faster and more responsive than its predecessors, making it a great option for those who wanted a smooth and efficient computing experience. And then there's the beefed-up security, including features like Windows Hello, which allowed users to sign in using their face or fingerprint instead of a password. It was clear that Microsoft had learned from the mistakes of the past and was determined to create an operating system that satisfied both users and critics. And I think they accomplished that with Windows 10. Now, when Windows 11 was unveiled in June of 2021, it generated a mix of excitement and skepticism. The announcement of a new version of Windows so soon after the release of Windows 10 seemed odd, especially given the similarities between the two. But as we got closer to the October release date, more details emerged and the picture became clearer. Would Windows 11 build on the success of Windows 10, or would it be a step backwards? Well, we got our answer on October 5, 2021, when Windows 11 officially launched. The main draw of Windows 11 was its fresh, modern design. Gone was the stark minimalism of Windows 10, and in its place was a softer, more approachable aesthetic. The Start menu was now centered, the taskbar icons were rounded, and the overall effect was both calming and inviting. But it wasn't just about aesthetics. The changes to the user interface were also designed to improve usability. For example, the new Start menu made it easier to find and launch apps, and the redesigned File Explorer made navigating folders and files more intuitive. Additionally, Windows 11 was built with performance in mind. Microsoft made significant improvements to the speed and responsiveness of the operating system, making it feel snappier and more fluid than ever before. As for the price, Microsoft decided to shake things up a bit. Instead of charging a hefty fee for an upgrade, they offered Windows 11 free of charge to anyone running Windows 10. However, there was a catch. The free offer was only available for a limited time and only for eligible devices. Once the free period ended, users would have to pay a nominal fee of $139 to upgrade. Now, comparing Windows 7 to Windows 11 reveals just how far the operating system has come over the years. From the clunky desktop of Windows 7 to the sleek, modern interface of Windows 11, each version represented a significant evolution in how we interact with our computers. While Windows 7 offered stability and a beloved Aero interface, it was Windows 11 that truly reimagined the desktop experience. The centered Start menu, rounded corners, and fresh design of Windows 11 make it stand out as a unique and innovative operating system. Moreover, the focus on performance and usability makes it a compelling choice for both casual users and tech enthusiasts alike. The transition from Windows 7 to Windows 11 has been nothing short of remarkable. Not only has the operating system become more visually appealing and user-friendly, but it has also become faster, more secure, and more versatile. As we look to the future of Windows, we can only wonder what new innovations and features Microsoft has in store for us. One thing is for sure, though, Windows will continue to evolve and adapt to the changing needs of its users. And that's what makes it one of the most successful and enduring operating systems of all time. So there you have it, a whirlwind tour through the history of Windows from the early days of Windows 7 to the modern era of Windows 11. Personally, I have fond memories of using Windows 7. It was the OS I learned on, and I still remember how much I loved the Aero interface. But as technology evolves, so do our needs and preferences. Windows 11 represents the latest evolution of the operating system, and I got to say it is pretty impressive. The design is clean and modern. The performance is top-notch, and the focus on usability is evident throughout the interface. What about you? Which version of Windows is your favorite and why? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more tech nostalgia. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.